Welcome back. Let's continue covering our voting process. The first phase of the parliamentary elections, Egypt 2025, the House of Representatives elections. Well, the Egyptians abroad really, as I said in my intro, drew such an image of how the Egyptians are that much civilized, and they are very much keen to continue sharing in this process and to practice their constitutional right to shape the future of the current and the future generations via the choice of those who are going to represent the Egyptian people into the House of Representatives. But what about the media coverage of those 2 days? And what about the media coverage of such constitutional operations or constitutional incidents? Let's shed more light on this as we are having via phone our dear guest, Dr. Monica William, Professor of International Relations. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Monica, and a very good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Monica, I hope that you've followed the media coverage of the voting process of the Egyptian expats, which took place in the past 2 days, as on Friday and on Saturday, the Egyptians, as I said, flooded to the embassies and consulates all over the world to cast their votes in the parliamentary elections, Egypt 2025. Before going into details, what's your impression about the media coverage, and what are the most important positive points in it?
Yes, and at the start, let's agree that the ongoing election marked by sound logistical management, strong public participation, and transparent oversight represent a vital and important step in consolidating Egypt's democratic experience. And yesterday was the second day of voting, which is served not merely as procedures phase, but some moment affirming that Egypt people remain, of course, even if they're abroad, the cornerstone of national stability, progress, and national credibility. When we try to talk in depth, one of the most logistical management is media coverage of elections, which is governed by clear criteria established by National Elections Authority to ensure transparency, professionalism, and neutrality. Accredited media outlets, whether local, regional, or international, are granted permits to cover the electoral process based on ethical and legal standards. The core principles guiding this coverage include accuracy and balance, ensuring that all candidates and parties receive fair visibility. And of course, on the other side, in Egypt, national and private media institutions have been mobilized to provide comprehensive coverage of voter turnout, logistical arrangement, and the atmosphere of polling stations without intervening in the process itself. And there is a lot of efforts made by Egyptian authority to ensure these items.
Also, Dr. Monica, the National Elections Authority was keen to hold the 3 media conferences per day. I mean, this was an opportunity for all the media outlets to watch themselves the press conference and to make sure that all the details are already available in front of all of them. How do you see the importance of such a press conference, to have 3 press conferences per day, and to all the time afford or provide the media with all the required data?
Of course, first of all, the National Election Authority plays a central role in monitoring and regulating all forms of election coverage to ensure common and established standards, as we mentioned before. And on the other side, the media press, which is held on daily basis, specialized monitoring committee operates around the clock to evaluate the accuracy and the fairness of reports broadcast by both domestic and international outlets. And moreover, the national election also coordinate with Supreme Council for Media Regulation, which ensure the journalistic ethics are upheld, and that any violations such as misinformation-based reporting or any of things doesn't or didn't done. Additionally, local and international observers are authorized to monitor how media outlets handle information, particularly during sensitive stages like vote counting and announcement of results, which is, of course, will follow a couple of days. This mechanism creates a framework of institutional accountability and guarantees that coverage contributes positively to public awareness rather than polarization on or misinformation.
Also, Dr. Monica, our diplomatic missions, members of our diplomatic missions all over the world were very much keen to answer all questions of the media. I mean, we had phone calls, we had Zoom meetings, we had virtual meetings with many of the members of our diplomatic missions and also of the Egyptian communities worldwide to make sure that their voice is there and it reached us here in Egypt. How do you see the importance of these contacts, or of letting the world on our screens listen and watch themselves the voices and the interviews with the Egyptians outside, whether the ordinary citizens, I mean the Egyptian community, or the members of our diplomatic missions?
Of course, the efforts made by Egyptian embassies and consultants abroad, which continue to facilitate voting, the first phase voting for Egyptians overseas. These diplomatic missions provided clear instruction, extended working hours, and technical assistance to ensure that all citizens could exercise their right to vote regardless of geographical distance. And these measures, of course, enforce the inclusivity of electoral process and reflect that Egypt's recognition of the important role of its citizens in shaping national policy. And of course, let's also discuss the role of social media. Social media become as very important and critical.
This was my final question regarding this point, Dr. Monica. I want you, if you please, elaborate on the role of social media and how it plays such a role in such occasions.
Of course, it's a very critical component of political communication and civic engagement. In Egypt, of course, platforms such as Facebook and X and Instagram serve as a real-time tool for information dissemination, enabling citizens to follow developments directly from official sources like national election or the first release, which is talked before or earlier. And media outlets, the government and national election have also these platforms to counter rumors and ensure that accurate information reaches voters quickly. Beyond that, social media, of course, on the other side, allows for a more interactive form of political participation. Citizens can share their experiences, express opinions, and contribute to a broader discourse on governance and accountability. And this dynamic space also necessitates strong digital governance and fact-checking mechanisms to prevent the spread of false or misleading content that could distort public perception about the elections process.
Well, Dr. Monica William, a professor of international relations, thank you very much for your input and have a very good day. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.
Your voice matters.